Hi guys, so I kind of wanted to touch base this evening on why I choose not to date or slash, intimacy slash dating with TMAU. So I personally, right now, I'm single and I have been for quite some time now. Going on a little over 2 years now, I think, maybe three. I think it's going on three. So I personally wanted to just say that I choose not to date because I'm too insecure these days, and I don't want to have to explain my condition or what I'm going through to somebody. So I'm gonna kind of just touch base. I know that in some of the videos I have expressed to y'all that I was married, or I might not have, but I was actually married for a total of 14 years. And during that time frame, I personally didn't know, until later on that I had any kind of odor condition and stuff like that. So the relationship was not normal. I'm gonna give you guys some insight on this now. Just so you guys know, I was actually in a very toxic and abusive relationship. So I do want to make a video about that later on, and I want to focus in on dealing with that type of stuff. But I don't want to really focus on that kind of content right now or in this video per se. I just kind of want to focus on intimacy, what my relationships were like, and kind of give you guys some insight on what I personally dealt with when I was in relationships. So with that being said, I was 19, and my ex-husband was 21 when we first met, and I never really had a problem per se. He never brought up to me or anything, about odors or anything like that. Now, what I can say was when we first got together, I didn't shave down there, okay? And he asked me if I could start shaving down there, and he said because it smelled like pee. He would be like, well, can you just remove the hair because it smells like pee? So I'm like, okay, well, whatever, I'll remove the hair. So that, I guess, should have been like the first sign that something was not right. But again, I just really never put much thought into it. And then it really never really dawned on me that he had an issue with me until we were at a Thanksgiving dinner one day. We were at Thanksgiving dinner one year, and he was at the table, and I was like further down at the table with I guess my kids or something. I don't know I don't know exactly where I was or what I was doing, but I just know that we were at the table. We were opposite ends of the table, and I overheard him and his sister talking about me. And I remember him asking her, like, is it normal for a woman to smell like fish all the time down there? And her saying, oh, hell no, like, I don't fucking smell like that. And I would remember him always complimenting her on how her perfume, like, went really good with her body's chemistry and stuff. And he would never compliment me on the scents that I wore. So, and whenever I did, put a scent on or something like that, he would always be like, that shit stinks. Like, no, like throw that shit away or whatever. And mind you, I would buy numerous perfumes and none of them would ever go with my body's chemistry. So and again, I just never understood why, So, and then in regards to intimacy, obviously after hearing him talk about me, like, I didn't want to ever be with him, intimate with him, which was another factor as to why we pretty much, went our separate ways or whatever. But prior to that, though, he would always ask me to shower before we got intimate. Now, I really never ever thought anything out of the norm for me because we were pretty much both clean freaks, and I would ask him to do the same. So, I just never thought of anything about it. But after hearing him, obviously complaining about me to his sister, that was when I really started to feel insecure about myself, and wasn't comfortable. um, Now, thankfully, I left that relationship, and like I said again, there was so many things wrong with it. You know, but after that relationship, I was in another relationship, and to be honest with you guys, like I wasn't ready for a relationship. I should have given myself time instead of just jumping in from one relationship to another. But I was very codependent at that time frame, and I was used to being with somebody. It wasn't easy for me to go from being with somebody for 14 years and literally growing up with that person and then jumping to being completely single. So I didn't take the time to really just be by myself, and I was got into a relationship with somebody who's a lot younger than me. um, and I think it was just more physical than anything, to be honest. And with that person, again, there was never any issues with the odors. I never got complaints, but then again, he actually seen me going through so much with the ex-husband and him being super toxic and all that stuff. And he one day was just like, dude, why do you let this guy get to you so much? Like, why every time you talk to him, like, he emotionally hurts you? So we sat down, we had a heart to heart, and I pretty much explained what I was dealing with. And he was like, look, for not for 1 minute do I want you to ever feel bad about yourself. He's like, because I, as a teen, suffered from like odor issues and stuff like that, and people calling him musty or whatever. And he was like, so I completely understand, where you're coming from. He's like, so please don't feel uncomfortable around me. And so after me and him actually like talking about it and me being comfortable about it around him, and him really never bringing it up either whenever we would like mess around or anything, I was more comfortable. Now, there were times where me and him would actually joke about it because there's times where we would get intimate or whatever, and he'd be like, "Oh girl, like you are very strong down there today," and I'd be like, "I know, like I know," but he would still continue, like he didn't care, so but I'm not going to give him like 100% credit, because he was a cheater, and wasn't good for me at all either. So, but just in the aspect of dealing with the TMAU and intimacy, he wasn't nowhere near as horrible as my ex-husband. So I was somewhat comfortable with him. Now, I was with like a few people, not a lot, but maybe like a few, like 2 or 3 people after that, the relationship after I broke up with him. And I dated him for about 2 years before I noticed, like, obviously it was never going to go anywhere, because again, like I said, I had always known that it was just physical. And besides that, again, he was younger than me, and he was going to want things that I could not give him, and nor was I willing to give him. I have kids that are grown pretty much, they're preteen to all, one being 18 this year. So, I honestly didn't want to have kids anymore. I don't want to have kids. I actually have my tubes tied. And, he wanted things like that. He wanted a family. He wanted to be married. And those are just things that like I no longer have an interest in. Like for me personally, I maybe one day when I'm old, like way older, I'm old, but I'm like when I'm older, I'll want to marry again or something. But to be honest, like I don't find that that piece of paper defines a relationship per se. It's not, I don't think it makes or breaks your relationship. I feel like 2 people can completely love each other and not have to have a piece of paper to prove that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. So that's part of the reason why I kind of came to a realization with him that like things were just never going to be what I wanted them to be, nor were they ever going to be what he wanted them to be with me. So I walked away from that. And again, like I said, I had a few experiences with people who never really complained ever. But again, I was never with them long enough, and I never really met up with them long enough to have them actually complain. So I don't know. Maybe that's probably why. Except there was this one guy that I had an encounter with, and like he was like, hey, the next time we like hang out, can you make sure you shower and like brush your teeth? And that's when it was like really a wrap for me, because you know, and in all honesty, I should have like told him like, hey, you made me feel really shitty about what you just said. But I just kind of like, I don't know. I just cut people off, you know. I don't want to have to explain crap. I don't want to have to explain myself. I don't want to have to deal with like telling somebody that I don't have an intention on being with. So this is part of the reason why I don't date, and part of the reason why I'm like, you know, it's just not for me, you know, right now. And don't get me wrong, like I love the idea of being in love, and I love, you know, being I just like it, you know, like I mean, I love being in love, but right now, honestly, I've grown very fond of my solitude. I just find it's easier to deal with, and it's just you know, it's less stressful, especially when you don't have to deal with, you know, like explaining yourself all the time or feeling bad about, you know, what you're dealing with. So sorry, I'm like trying to, this thing is like not angling right, and it keeps like falling down. It's just horrible. So it's gonna be like a jacked up video. But anyways, you know, but I am really curious as to how other people handle relationships, marriages, because I can honestly tell you that, you know, like I said, looking back, that for me personally, I know that the person I was with the longest lied to me. You know, he was not honest with me. And I think that a lot of our partners will do that because either they're immune to the smell, or they don't want to hurt your feelings because, you know, they genuinely care for you. And some of them, they just, you know, they don't, maybe they complain, but they don't complain to you, you know. So, and like my case, but you know, they stay with you because, again, you know, maybe they love you or whatever. I don't know. I know that the person I was with, that wasn't real love. I think we were just used to each other because, again, we were very young and we kind of grew up together, and it was more like, you know, that was my best friend at one point, because I was completely myself around him. I, you know, went from a young girl to a woman, and you know, like I said, I grew up with him, and you know, I was just always comfortable being myself, completely genuinely myself around him. So you know, that made it really tough, but again, like I said, I'm just curious because you know, I feel like a lot of people will, you know, not complain to you because they don't want to make you feel bad, you know, but makes it hard. So yeah, that's personally why I don't choose to date. And you know, I don't know, guys, but I hope that gives you guys some insight as to how I feel personally about intimacy and, you know, dating, and you know, how I am personally dealing with it. And I can just say, you guys, it's hard, it's lonely. You know, do I think I'm ever going to date somebody again or soon? I don't know. I mean, it's hard. What's the hardest is that, you know, I attract people. You know, I'm not the best looking woman in the world, but I'm not like, I don't think I'm like a horribly bad looking woman. And, you know, I put myself together really well. I'm very petite, you know, and, you know, I like I said, again, I have no problem attracting people at all. But I think that, you know, at the end of the day, it's like cute and smelly. It's like, that doesn't go hand in hand. So it's very hard and very confusing, especially like when again, like I said, I do attract people, or, you know, like, you know, I'm around people, like they'll just be like, oh, well, she's cute, but she stinks. Like, it doesn't make sense, you know? And, you know, that's the hardest thing. And I don't want to sit there and explain myself like to somebody if I'm not genuinely interested in that person. Like, I just don't have it in me to want to do that to every person I meet. Like, I just don't want to do that, or to every guy who takes an interest in me. You know, like I said, I just genuinely feel like I have to have some type of interest in you for me to want to even try to explain what's going on. And here lately, I don't have it. So I don't know. Hopefully that helps you guys understand me a little bit more and where I'm coming from when it comes to relationships. And again, I would love to hear your guys' side and take on, you know, how you guys deal with TMAU and your relationships and stuff like that. I again want to just thank everybody for the likes, the comments, the shares, you know, the subscribes. I appreciate it. Thank you for helping me grow this channel. And if you guys like the feedback, no, not the feedback, but the content, I guess I'm putting out, please make sure you guys just like again, because, you know, it helps me know what type of material to put out for you guys. And yeah, I guess that's it, guys. Good night.